Aberforth Dumbledore was a half-blood wizard, the second son of Percival and Kendra Dumbledore, younger brother of Albus and older brother of Ariana. He attended Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry and also had a fondness for goats. Aberforth survived both wizarding wars and participated in the Battle of Hogwarts. Aberforth was rather adventurous in his youth. He and the family lived in Mold on the Wold originally, and Aberforth had a love of tales and stories told by his father. His favourite tale while growing up was Grumble the Grubby Goat, which may explain where his love of goats first began. The Dumbledore family was left traumatised and distraught when Ariana, then just 6 years old, was attacked by 3 Muggle boys who had seen her performing magic. The attack left Ariana mentally unstable and unable to control her magic. Percival cursed the boys in retaliation and was arrested for it. He did not reveal to the authorities the true reason for his attack, as Ariana would have been taken from the family as she posed a potential threat to the International Statute of Secrecy and most likely would have been placed in St. Mungo's Hospital for magical maladies and injuries permanently. Percival was imprisoned in Azkaban and Kendra then moved the family to Godric's Hollow, putting out a story that Ariana was ill and needed to remain at home. This story led to the assumption that Ariana was a squib. Aberforth attended Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry between 1895 and 1902. Although his house was never disclosed, it's my guess that due to his willingness to almost never avoid confrontation, combined with the fact that unlike Albus he preferred to solve his differences by dueling, which could be a demonstration of bravery or stupidity, Aberforth was most likely sorted into Gryffindor House like his brother. However, he was always in Albus's shadow, as his brother was an extraordinarily talented and academic wizard. Aberforth was Ariana's favourite sibling, and he took part responsibility of taking care of her. However, he was not at home the day when Ariana lost control of her magic and accidentally killed their mother Kendra. Following his mother's passing, Aberforth wanted to leave school and take over the care of his sister, but Albus would simply not allow it. Albus wanted his younger brother to complete his education at Hogwarts, although he bitterly resented having to abandon his own grand plans. By this time, Aberforth was described as a wayward young man, known to chuck goat dung at their neighbours and inclined to get into duels with those he had disagreements with. When Gellert Grindelwald came to Godric's Hollow, he and Albus instantly struck up a friendship, together dreaming of finding the Deathly Hallows and leading a revolution that would make Muggles subservient to wizards. Upon learning of his elder brother's ambitions, Aberforth was disgusted by such a plan, but he was also concerned as Ariana would have to be involved. When it was time for Aberforth to return to Hogwarts, he decided to finally confront Albus and Gellert on the impossibility of such a scheme and angrily pointed out on Albus's neglect of Ariana and that he could not be the heroic leader of the revolution with Ariana in tow, which Albus later said to have brought him back to reality, despite not wanting to hear the truth of the words Aberforth shouted at him. Grindelwald became furious and used the Cruciatus Curse on Aberforth. Albus tried to protect his brother and a three-way duel broke out. While the three battled, Ariana tried to help her brother, but a stray curse from one of them hit Ariana, killing her instantly. Aberforth was devastated by the death of his younger sister he and his mother spent years caring for, and furiously blamed Albus for Ariana's death, going as far as to physically assaulting his brother at their sister's funeral. He actually broke Albus's nose, shouting that Ariana's death was his fault. He never forgave his brother and continued to resent him for years, despite Albus's immense feelings of regret, of which Aberforth did not know until Harry finally revealed it to him many years later, which allowed Aberforth to finally forgive his older brother. At some point later on in his life, Aberforth became the barman of the Hogshead Inn in Hogsmeade Village. Later, when the First Wizarding War eventually broke out, Aberforth joined the Order of the Phoenix, opposing Lord Voldemort and his Death Eaters. Sometime around 1975, Mundungus Fletcher was banned from the Hog's Head for life, and Sirius Black later noted that Aberforth had a very good memory for whom he has thrown out of his tavern over the years gone by. In 1980, Albus visited the Hog's Head to interview Sybil Trelawney for the position of Divination Professor at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Severus Snape, a Death Eater, overheard part of Trelawney's prophecy about the fall of Lord Voldemort. However, Snape was unable to hear its entirety as Aberforth caught him eavesdropping and eventually threw him out. Sometime around 1982, Aberforth was prosecuted by the Wizengamot for using inappropriate charms on a goat, causing a minor scandal that was widely reported in the Daily Prophet. According to his brother, Aberforth did not let the gossip get him down or force him into hiding. However, Albus was not certain if this was due to bravery, as he claimed not to be completely sure how well Aberforth could actually read. In 1995, Harry Potter and a large number of students arrived in the Hog's Head to discuss learning defense against the dark arts from Harry himself. This was an illegal defense group, as Dolores Umbridge forbid all group activities. Aberforth served the large group butterbeer, even though some of the group considered ordering fire whiskey. Mundungus Fletcher was also present, acting as an informant for the Order of the Phoenix. 1 year later, in 1996, Aberforth met with Mundungus Fletcher outside the Three Broomsticks Inn. Mundungus appeared to be selling stolen goods from 12 Grimmauld Place to Aberforth, one of those items being Sirius Black's two-way mirror. The exchange was witnessed by Harry Potter, who attempted to confront Mundungus following Aberforth's departure. In 1997, the Battle of the Astronomy Tower took place at Hogwarts, culminating with the death of Albus Dumbledore at the hands of Severus Snape, who, although this was unknown to everyone else at the time, besides the deceased Dumbledore, was working under Albus's orders. A great number of people attended his funeral, including Aberforth, Hogwarts students, professors, old friends, Hogsmeade residents, Order of the Phoenix members, and Ministry of Magic officials. After his brother's death, Aberforth had no family left. The next year, since Dumbledore had died and could not protect the school from Death Eaters, Lord Voldemort managed to take over Hogwarts. Severus Snape became headmaster, and Alecto and Amicus Carroll, two Death Eaters, became deputy headmaster and deputy headmistress respectively. The Carrolls liked punishing students and were cruel and sadistic. They used their power to torture the students who opposed them. Aberforth's pub was used as a passageway into Hogwarts to the Room of Requirement, and he supplied the students in hiding with food and water. After Aberforth gained possession of one fragment of the two-way mirror, he used it to watch over Harry, just as Dumbledore had done through the other half. Harry was unaware of the details but occasionally looked at the mirror, thinking the eyes might belong to Albus. When Harry desperately requested help from the mirror whilst trapped at Malfoy Manor, Aberforth sent Dobby to the rescue. He was sad to learn that the elf died in action. Deciding to look for the next of Lord Voldemort's Horcruxes in the Death Eater-controlled Hogwarts castle, Harry, Hermione and Ron apparated into Hogsmeade Village, setting off the caterwauling charm that alerted Death Eaters to their arrival. As they were hidden under the invisibility cloak, the Death Eaters decided to send Dementors to find Harry. The Dementors, sensing fear, rapidly closed in, and Harry cast a Patronus charm to repel them. A door creaked open behind him and Aberforth waved the trio in. Aberforth then convinced the Death Eaters that it was he who set off the alarm by letting his cat out, and it was his goat Patronus, not Harry's stag, that they actually saw. Harry recognised Aberforth. It was Albus's younger brother. Aberforth wanted them to escape the village the very next morning, believing that the Order of the Phoenix was finished, and that Voldemort had already won the war, and those still fighting were only deluding themselves. When Harry refused, saying that he must complete Albus's mission, Aberforth berated Harry for following his brother and asked if he knows the entire truth about him. Harry, already doubting Dumbledore's intentions, was unable to respond. With little prodding, Aberforth related the true story about their childhood, and despite hearing of his former headmaster's past, Harry intended to complete his mission with or without Aberforth's help to get inside Hogwarts. A portrait of Ariana hung in Aberforth's room in the Hogshead Inn. It concealed a secret passageway to get to the Room of Requirement inside Hogwarts Castle. This passage only appeared after the students had begun using the Room of Requirement in their efforts to fight the Hogwarts administration under Headmaster Severus Snape. Bowing to the inevitable, Aberforth addressed Ariana's portrait and she disappeared down a long, dark tunnel, soon returning with another figure, Neville Longbottom. Neville led the three back to the Room of Requirement and alerted the Order of the Phoenix that Harry had arrived at the school. The Hogshead then became the main transportation hub for the outgoing students and the incoming Order of the Phoenix members prior to the Battle of Hogwarts. Aberforth fought in the battle. He entered Hogwarts originally to complain to Harry about how hundreds of evacuating students were thundering through his pub, and that they should have kept some Slytherin students as hostage against parenting Death Eaters, to which Harry countered that it would not stop Voldemort and that his brother would never do it. Aberforth sneered at the latter theory before leaving to defend the castle. During the battle, he offered encouragement to Ginny when she fought off some Death Eaters. When Tonks asked if he had seen Remus, Aberforth replied that he was last seen dueling Antonin Dolohov. In the renewed battle, Aberforth stunned Augustus Rookwood as he headed into the Great Hall. He survived the final battle of the Second Wizarding War, and after the battle, he was seen talking with Dean Thomas and Seamus Finnegan while the three were in the Great Hall. He later returned to his former life, still at the Hogshead, playing with his goats. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your support. Everyone, notifications of uploads are more important than ever, so please, if you haven't already, turn those notifications on to make sure you're notified the moment my video goes live. Making videos is what I love to do, it's my dream and my passion. However, it does cost time and money to produce this content, so if you have $1 to spare to support me on Patreon in exchange for some exclusive unseen content, then you can click the Patreon link below or at the end of this video. Please only support me if you can afford it. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at InstaDeanJ and on Twitter at PotterFolklore. Check out my other videos appearing on screen, and please make sure, most importantly, to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again everyone, and please have a great day.